So I'll go back to talking about what I was originally talking about before, efficiency of planning trips. So in the case of this trip, the parks are far enough away to where like I can't necessarily drive all the way to the destination and get to the hotel. Another thing too, a good tip for picking out hotels and getting cheaper hotels is if you don't stay in a big major city. Like if you're going to a park that's in like a major city, a lot of times if you stay a little bit further away, like so even if you stay 30, 45 minutes away, a lot of times your hotels are going to be cheaper there. Like it's cheaper to stay in Fredericksburg, Virginia than it is to stay right next to Kings Dominion. Cedar Point, the hotel that I'm getting to and from Cedar Point, I mean, granted I have a lot of driving to do, are much, much cheaper than I'm pretty sure it would be to be in Sandusky. So that's a good tip too, if you stay a little bit further away but close enough to where you can easily get to the park. But if you're traveling like I am, I opted on this trip to go ahead and stay halfway between, which is the best compromise that I could give myself, to where I have less driving to do when I leave the park and I'm tired, but I have maybe a little bit more driving to do in the morning instead of being close to the park, like today where I'm having to drive 2.5 hours from my hotel to get to the park. But yeah, so you have to take into account when you do that, what kind of person are you? Are you a late night person or are you a morning person? If you're a person that gets up in the morning really easily but likes to get to bed early, then you're going to want to stay a little bit closer to where you're coming from rather than where you're going to. I'm typically not a morning person. I'm a late night person. I can stay up really late at night even if I'm tired. It's just the way my body works. I have a hard time getting up in the morning, but I can get up in the morning. I can do it. And so for me, I usually like to go ahead and drive more at night than I do in the morning, because I'll stay to a park until it closes and still drive hours after that. That's fine with me. So you have to decide sort of what your timeline for driving is and where you want to stay. Another good tip, pick hotels that are close to the freeway that you're going to be on. That way, when you leave, you're ready to go. You just jump on the freeway, and you're already, you're on your way. You don't have a whole lot of driving to do before you hit the freeway. Think about when you need to get gas. Think about how much, if you know your car really well, you're going to have at least a rough estimate of how many miles you can go before you need to get gas. If you can, it depends. Like this time around, I had enough gas to get from Busch Gardens to my hotel without stopping to get gas. So I just went ahead and drive straight on. I didn't get gas. But then I had to get gas this morning, which takes time. It only takes a few minutes, but it takes time, nevertheless, which will set you back. So you can also get gas when you get, to where you're going. Like right before you go to your hotel, you can get gas. That way you don't have to get gas in the morning. Like I said before, you want to make everything that you do efficient to set you up for the next thing you're about to do. So a big thing in this is, for me, I am slow getting around in the morning. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm not a morning person. It takes me a long time to kind of like wake up, to both get out of bed and to like get my morning routine done once I get out of bed. So I'm going to do things that make my morning routine easier, to where I don't have much to do before I leave the hotel. Like normally I'm a person, I like to shower in the morning. On these trips, I shower at night. I shower before I go to bed, which usually I want to do anyway if I'm coming from a park the day before. That way I don't have to shower in the morning. That's one less thing I have to do in the morning. I will make sure that I am as packed with my luggage and my clothes and stuff as I can be, to where I don't have to pack stuff in the morning. All I have to do is like throw some chargers and power cords in the suitcase and throw my toiletries in there and go. But I also am a person, I typically don't really unpack very much when I get to a place. I like to leave things how they are, so I don't have to do much with that. And part of that is what you bring with you on a trip. Like, there's certain things you have to bring with you, and there's certain things that you can decide to bring with you, or you can decide not to. I I like to travel with as little as possible when I'm going to a park. I don't like to carry bags into parks because I don't like to put them in lockers. Because I don't like to pay for lockers. I don't like to have to wait. I don't like to have to get them checked when I'm getting into the park, which if there's a long line, definitely makes it take a lot longer. So I'm the kind of person, I go into a park with what's in my pockets, which is just enough to get me through the day, and you know, everything I absolutely need I have in my pockets. And I wear shorts with zipper pockets, or Velcro pockets, or button pockets, you know, as not, you know, as lame as it may be to like wear cargo shorts or whatever, you know, fashion wise. I don't really care, because this way I don't have to put my stuff in a locker. My phone is in a pocket that zips, so I know I'm not going to lose it on a ride. I don't have to worry about taking it on the ride. Little things like that, little things that will set you back throughout the day. Like, oh no, I have to put my bag in a locker. That's going to take time. You may have to wait in line to get a locker. You got to pay to get the locker. That takes time. I don't want to take that time. I don't want to spend that money. So I'm going to take what I can fit in my pockets. A lot of times if I'm traveling between parks, I don't typically like to spend a lot of time or money on getting food at a park. I mean, a lot of times you have to because you're hungry and, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So a lot of times you have to get food, and if you have like a platinum pass or whatever season pass for the park that you're at, a lot of times it makes it cheaper. It's usually like 15% off. And at Cedar Fair, it's I think 15% off. Or if you have the season dining, which I did not do this year, but I will definitely be doing it next year because I think it would have come in handy. So if I'm traveling between parks, even if it's at maybe not the best opportunity during the day, if I can do it, if I'm comfortable with it, I'm just going to go ahead and wait to eat and eat something on the way. And I will literally get something that I can eat in my car on the way to the next park. I do that a lot unless I want to stop and have to take a break, or I want to eat something that take a little bit of time with eating. But so that's another tip too. You know, it's like, you know, you have to multitask. You don't have, if you're doing a trip like this where you have driving on both ends of the day, you don't really have a whole lot of time at your hotels to sleep. I mean, you have enough time to sleep, but that's about all you have time to do. You know, sometimes you have to make some sacrifices, or you have to, you know, you want to be as comfortable as you possibly can, but you want to set yourself up to where you're not having to be delayed with things. So yeah, so it's the little things. It's the little things that really kind of set you up for success or failure. Knowing the park really well. I mean, even if you don't know the park really well, like I don't know Carowinds at all, but I have a fast lane, so I'm not worried about it today. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. You know, this is actually a lot of thoughts about kind of getting through a day where you have a lot to do and you want to, you know, be as efficient as possible. Today, like I said earlier, today I had some delays. Last night I didn't take into account how much space it was going to take for me to make all these videos, and I assumed that I would be able to like upload them to a cloud so that I could take them off my phone memory card, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that because I had so little space on my phone that it wasn't even letting me do anything. So I had to make a pit stop and pick up, I just decided to go ahead and pick up another micro SD card. To me, that was the easiest solution at the time, which really only, all in all, was about a 15 to 20 minute detour, which really, you know, wasn't that bad. But yeah, so, you know, when I planned the trip, I'm going to go back to kind of the big picture of things. When I planned the trip, I see how long it's going to take me to get from one place to the next. I do a rough estimate of what my best case scenario and worst case scenario is for the amount of time I'm going to have at a park, the amount of time that it's going to take me to drive to a place, the amount of time that I'm going to have to sleep, and all the little things in between. And I usually err on the side of safety. Like I usually round up in terms of the number of hours number of hours it's going to take me to get to a place, I usually round up and add like 30 minutes to an hour to it to account for any delays that I'm going to have. So today, you know, ideally I would have gotten to Carowinds at aiming for, you know, one side or the other of noon. So, you know, between 11 and noon is when I would have liked to have gotten there. I'm going to get there closer to probably 1:30, but I'll still have plenty of time. So, and I, you know, like I said before, I kind of planned for the fact that there may be some delays in the morning, and there was today. So yeah, hopefully these tips are helpful if you're trying to plan trips, or if you're wanting to know how to like get things done efficiently. You have to like prioritize. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get as many rides as you want throughout the day? How important is it for you to like take breaks throughout the day? How important is it for you to get, you know, how many hours of sleep do you need? How many hours are you comfortable driving at a time? You have to think about those things. And depending on what kind of person you are, and how comfortable you are with all those things, will kind of determine what your limit is in terms of how much you can get done in a day, and not, you know, go crazy, I guess. So yeah, I'm at this point been driving for a while. I still have a ways to go before I get to Carowinds, and yeah, looking forward to getting there. I will see you there.